Welcome, family and friends. This is My Thoughts Uncut. I'm your host, Terrence Manning. We're going to talk about 35 days of government shutdown, how it's causing flights to be delayed at an all time high, and the effects it's having on the traveling public. Let's take a look.
This is insane. I mean, it looks like I will miss my flight.
But I do understand, the shortage in staff and the why, but it's just very inconvenient for all passengers.
We're seeing long lines, flight delays, and cancellations at airports around the country as the government shutdown has now dragged on for more than a month. Those air travel issues are piling up, and officials say this is only going to get worse. Hello, I'm Christine Pitawanich, tracking your latest headlines. Federal workers at airports across the nation are feeling the pressure. TSA workers and air traffic controllers are considered essential staff and must work during the government shutdown despite not getting paid. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said some air traffic controllers have called in sick in protest. Others are taking time off to work other jobs until paychecks restart.
And that's the thing what people don't understand. People are calling sick because it takes gas, it takes money to get to work. So your return on investment of going to work right now it's zero because you're not getting paid. So they got to figure out, okay, let's get a side gig and do something that's going to actually pay me right then and there instead of waiting and waiting. 35 days is a long time without getting paid.
We've seen ground stops at airports like LAX and Nashville. At Newark Airport in New Jersey, there have been hours-long delays. And in Houston, at times, security lines spilled over outside the airport.
There has been 13,000 air traffic controllers that have not been paid yet, approximately 13,000. About 3,000 of them, they're short 3,000 actually. And these guys are working more than 8 hours a day. As an air traffic controller, you're already stressed out with the job you have because you're providing safety for all those people that are flying. So put that in perspective. And then on top of that, you're working 10, 12-hour shifts and you're not getting paid for it. So you're stressing about finances and you're also stressing while at work thinking about finances when you're supposed to be thinking about your job and getting these people from point A to point B. So it's tough on everyone. And this is dangerous. This is dangerous territory we're in because these guys are human. So what do you expect them to do? They got families to feed. They got bills to pay. This is terrible.
At one point, the wait at TSA checkpoints was more than 3 hours long. Hugo Gianluca spoke to travelers in Houston about their frustrations.
Got here early, and am I glad I did. Look at this mess.
A mess indeed. Houston airport officials are urging passengers to get here early. This KHO11 viewer listened to that advice.
You got here 4 hours before your flight. Why is that?
Saw on the news at 6 a.m. KHOU that it was going to be a 3-hour wait. So here we are.
Long security wait times could last as long as the federal government is still shut down due to staff shortages. Some travelers underestimated just how bad it would be.
I think we're going to miss the flight.
How do you feel about that, sir?
Terrible. We're so concerned about it.
What was your reaction when you saw the line?
I want to cancel.
She ended up sticking it out. At Bush Airport, only TSA checkpoints at terminals A and E are open for passengers. At Hobby Airport, fewer screening lanes are open with wait times exceeding over an hour.
There have been reports on FlightAware that over 4,000 delays and over 500 cancellations happened Sunday, one day alone. This is costing the airlines billions of dollars. This is crazy. I can't imagine being in the terminal waiting for 3, 4, 5 hours. I might as well not even fly.
Some passengers were ready to wait.
Get here early and be patient. That's the only thing you can do.
Because you can't control anything else.
No. Everyone's doing the best they can, and I know everyone else is waiting as well, so just understand that.
Meanwhile, others are frustrated. This government shutdown is happening all together.
I'd like to have every congressman standing right behind me going through this same thing so they can see what us Americans are going through because they don't do their job.
Halloween weekend was the worst for air traffic control staffing shortages since the shutdown began on October 1st. That's according to FAA data. There were 98 staffing trigger reports. That's when air traffic controllers have to change operations to keep the airspace safe with fewer people working. It can include derouting planes or delaying flights. Experts have warned travelers would see more flight disruptions the longer federal workers have to go without a paycheck. Brianna Costello spoke with an air traffic controller in Dallas who says he had to pick up another job to support his family.
Safety in the sky is a growing concern as the federal shutdown enters its 5th week.
I don't want to sit down and map out how long I can go. I think that'll cause me more anxiety than anything.
Air traffic controller Jack Chris is one of thousands of federal workers who are working without pay.
Short staffing, high workload, and then not knowing when you're going to get paid. That just sounds like a recipe right there.
Chris.
That is a recipe for disaster, not just for him, because if he or anyone else that's air traffic controller makes a fatal mistake, that costs lives. So that's just it's just a bad situation. This guy is actually doing DoorDash because he has to feed his family and himself. So these guys have to pick, do I go to work and not get paid, or do I do a side hustle and I'm guaranteed to get paid something while this whole government shutdown's going on? Let's take a look at another source.
Across the country as the government shutdown stretches into a second month. SeaTac already has had dozens of delays this morning. Reporter Brooke Taylor has more from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport.
This is America, and you feel when you come to America that things will work properly.
We are on day 35 of the longest government shutdown in history, and the situation is getting worse at America's airports. Problems are piling up as air traffic controllers and TSA workers continue working without pay. Many are calling out sick, leading to major staffing issues that caused more than 4,400 flight delays on Monday.
That's crazy.
Right now too, they're missing their work right now. Me, who has school right now, I'm missing school.
Texas is one of the hardest hit states. There's major delays here at Dallas-Fort Worth and also in Houston, where folks are being told to get to the airport extra early. Despite the inconvenience, some travelers say they are just glad the airports are still open.
I'm impressed that there's as many people working as there are, because if it was turned, I don't know that I'd be here.
I mean, look, Congress has a basic constitutional duty in their feeling is to pass legislation and to have the government open prior to the deadline. These guys, both parties, have always done this. They prolong coming to the table, sitting down and coming up with a bipartisan bill, and then they just let it run until the very end of September 30th, and then October 1st is when the new fiscal year for the government happens, and that's when the bill should be passed. But every year they take forever. Now, this particular year, Republicans were on point. They passed it, and now for some reason, while in the Senate, Democrats are holding it up because they want illegal immigrants to basically get free healthcare, free food, etc. But at the same time, this is causing massive economic loss for the airlines, for pretty much us people. The economy is suffering because of this. People are not spending money like they usually would. And if this goes into Thanksgiving, you're going to see a massive decrease in spending because that's when usually Black Friday comes around, right around the corner. And that's when people start buying their Christmas gifts. You're going to see a big hit. I'm telling you.
But as those air traffic controllers miss their second paychecks, it's prompting new safety concerns.
Their decision-making skills are probably much worse because they're probably thinking about 100 other things now, more because they're not getting paid.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says right now there are enough air traffic controllers, but if things get worse, he'll consider shutting down air travel.
If we thought that it was
And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, they are punishing the wrong people. They're punishing the federal workers who rely on the paycheck. Then during furlough, the ones that are essential must go into work, and they're punishing the people, the citizens that rely on government services. So there's twofold that they're punishing. And these congressmen and women should not get paid if there's a shutdown. They need to have this legislation into Congress to where they pass this bill and no one gets paid if you're a Congress member if the government is shut down. So 35 days has been shut down. None of the congressmen or women get paid. And that's both in the House and Senate. All of them need to suffer just like American citizens are suffering because it's unfair. They get to go on vacation, still get their paycheck, and still accumulate vacation time while this is happening. And that's not fair to you. That's not fair for the people that depend on the government for numerous amount of things. Also, we have to address there's way too many people that do depend on the government. So we have to talk about that too. But that's a topic for another day. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.